Exclusive. Even as the world is reeling under the coronavirus pandemic, the death toll in Italy has surpassed even China, making it the epicenter of the pandemic. Even for India, Iran and Italy have been two countries where the missions have been toiling to get the Indians to safety. On Spotlight this week is the Indian ambassador to Italy to share the efforts put in by her and her mission in carrying out the Herculean task. Many thanks for joining us over here, Ambassador Reenat Sandhu. What has the coordination been between your mission, New Delhi headquarters here, and the Foreign Office in Italy to ensure Indians and particularly students from India return home safely?
Thank you, Geeta. It's a pleasure to join you. Ever since the outbreak of the coronavirus in Italy, we have been in touch with the Indian community and also the various student groups, as we have a large number of students that are spread across Italy but largely concentrated in and around Milan and in and around Rome. So our effort has been to keep in touch with them, to assure them and to provide them any kind of help or support that they needed. I must say that it has been extremely important, the support and the help that we got from the Ministry of External Affairs, from the Ministry of Health in India, from the Italian authorities, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well as Health and Civil Protection, which is the coordinator for this crisis. We were able to get a medical team from India last week who came to Rome and took around 380 swabs back to India for testing. And I'm very happy to say that the tests have come, and now we move to the next step, which is of trying to arrange for the safe return of those students who have tested negative.
Ambassador Sandhu, it has been a Herculean task. Like we've been saying, the mission has done a lot of work. But in a lockdown situation, what has been the procedure that the mission has had to follow to ensure that Indians come home or are safe in Italy?
So Geeta, within the limited resources that the embassy has and the current environment here with the lockdown in Italy, the embassy has tried its best to help the students in the best way possible. There have been times when students didn't have a place to stay, or they were stranded at the airport and we had to bring a few of them and put them in a hotel. We are very happy that now this flight will be coming as announced by the Ministry of External Affairs, and we would be able to take the students back.
Ambassador Sandhu, wishing you and all the staff working under you on the front line health and safety. Many thanks for joining us here on World Today.